The bigger picture, the divine picture. The most important decision we can make is whether we believe we live in a friendly or hostile universe, said Einstein. God does not play dice with the universe. I believe there's a benevolence in the universe that is looking out for me. I can feel it. It whispers, it's going to be okay. Hold on, a little more patience, Soulfire. All is in perfect order. Trust, my love, trust. Even with all the madness, hostility, and turmoil that exists on the planet, there is still an inherent movement toward goodness, toward creation, toward love. The universe is self-correcting and self-organizing just like a GPS. We just have to make sure our GPS is set to the right destination. What state are we headed toward, the state of suffering or the state of freedom? There is another reality beyond and above our current events, for our individual lives as well as universally. Each time I get lost reliving the past, I redirect myself to the bigger picture, reminding myself that it is fruitless to judge the situation until I have an understanding of it in the context of the complete narrative of my life. How can I do that when I have a limited perspective from a keyhole view? If I take a bird's eye view of the hawk, everything changes. We must go within and connect to our higher consciousness and our divine intelligence. Our human self only sees the drama, uncertainty, confusion, fear, doubt, despair, and limitations. Our spiritual self only sees the clarity, perfection, divine order, harmony, peace, love, and endless possibilities. Which one we choose to focus on is our choice, and our choice will either bring us heaven or will bring us hell. I choose to focus on heaven. Focus equals freedom. The two wolves. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that was going on inside him. He said, "My son, it is between two wolves. One is filled with fear, resentment, anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, self-pity, guilt, frustration, conceit, jealousy, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is filled with joy, peace, play, gratitude, passion, enthusiasm, wonder, curiosity, hope, contentment, love, humility, kindness, trust, focus, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about this for a moment and then asked, "Grandfather, which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one I feed." Detachment from attachment. When we detach from the human drama, we are able to look at things from a higher perspective, our Purusha, our soul, our higher self. We get a bird's eye view when we detach and look down and within. When I first started studying Buddhism and yoga, I couldn't fully grasp the concept of detachment. I was befuddled about how I could be detached without being cold and uncaring, and how the heck can I not be attached? We as humans attach to everything, but we as spiritual beings do not. Attachment is human energy. Detachment is divine energy. Attachment keeps us stuck in the problem or conflict. Detachment allows us to be free from the pull and push of the human drama and emotions and helps us to connect to the wellspring of peace, love, guidance, and wisdom that's within us. Detachment doesn't mean we are apathetic and it's not checking out. It's actually checking in. That's the difference between sympathy and empathy. When someone has fallen into a dark hole, sympathy would jump in with them, which would cause you both to be stuck and no way out. Empathy, on the other hand, would stand at the top and lower a rope down to pull you out. When you have sympathy for a person, you descend to their level of suffering. You become that suffering with them. When you have empathy, you can relate and feel for them, but you hold the space of truth and strength for them. Sympathy is reactive, empathy is proactive. I've learned the best way to help someone when they are in pain is just to be there for them. There's something very sacred and healing about sitting with someone in silence, being a witness to their pain without trying to change it, fix it, or judge it. How do you love yourself? I was at a drum circle recently and noticed a soul sister struggling. When she confided in me, she told me a man she had slept with was there and another girl with the other girl, and he was completely ignoring her. She was beside herself, to say the least. She didn't feel comfortable being there and definitely not dancing. I think the scenario is one most of us can relate to, hoping the sex was something more than just sex, when in actuality it was just sex. I heard this once: women use sex to get love, and men use love to get sex. And after sex, not knowing how to be honest, mature adults, we ignore the other person, hoping they will just go away or dissolve, so we don't have to deal with our own uncomfortable feelings. She continued on with details of the story. I listened and heard so much of my old self in her. Been there, done that. Yep. Felt that, did that. Yep, I know exactly how you feel, I was thinking. She asked me what she should do. With understanding and empathy, I told her she was selling herself short, and while it was okay that she slept with him, if that was what she wanted to do, it wasn't okay that she was beating herself up now over it. She was allowing him to take her power and make her feel small and less than. She agreed with me. I continued, the bottom line is that you are not loving yourself. She then asked me, as innocently as a child asks their parent, why is the sky blue? How do you love yourself? Now that's the $1 million question. I paused, feeling her rawness and vulnerability in that moment. First thought I had was, I wish my book was done already, because I've been in the same situation so many times. I might as well have been talking to myself. How do you explain to someone a journey that took my entire life to figure out? I was aware that this was an opening, and I didn't want to blow it. Silence can be more powerful than words, and this was one of those times. I didn't say anything, but took off my jingly coin hip skirt, tied it around her waist, brought her out into the middle of the circle, and danced with her. As I twirled her around and around, I watched her light begin to shine again. She looked like a new woman, smiling with delight and aglow with self-confidence. She thanked me profusely for getting her out there and dancing with her. In that moment, she was free, and in that moment, she was love. And that is how you love yourself. We forget how to love ourselves because women have been oppressed and objectified for thousands of years. We have been programmed to be seen and not heard. There is still a double standard when it comes to sex and expressing our sexuality as a woman versus a man. The more sex men have, the more they are looked up to and held in high esteem. Women, on the other hand, are labeled sluts and whores. In addition, we carry the shame of our sisters from lifetimes ago. We are taught to not have an opinion, especially one that goes against the status quo, or we are labeled a bitch. If we are emotional, we are labeled irrational or too much. How many times have I heard that about myself? Of course we are emotional. Every month our bodies prepare for a baby and creating life. And most months, those eggs die and we shed our uterine lining. You don't think that has an element of sadness to it? As women, it is our right to be emotional and for it to not make sense or be rational. Most of the time, we don't even understand where our feelings are coming from. My advice to men, just accept a woman's feelings without trying to rationalize them. And never make her feel bad or crazy because she has intense feelings that you don't understand. You will never succeed at that. Just hold her, tell her you love her, and be the rock. Loving ourselves means accepting ourselves, irrational feelings and all. The goddess is back, and she is beautiful and powerful and sensual and not afraid to express herself. The old way of thinking and living keeps us locked in the cage, and we are birds that need to soar. Our wings cannot be contained inside a box.